Good morning, it's Urban Scruggs, and I'm going to show you how to build a reservoir and regulator bucket to go along with my SIP Plus planter. We're going to start off with two 5-gallon buckets. I opted to buy brand new food grade black 5-gallon buckets so that they look better, but used ones are just fine. 1.5 inches off the bottom edge of our bucket. This will be where we drill 1 1/8 inch hole with a hole saw to put the bulkhead connector into it so that we can screw in our hose barb for the water to come out. When you're using a hole saw on plastic, it's best to go slow with low pressure. If you push too hard, it'll pop all the way through it and it'll make a nasty looking hole on the inside. It can even snag and really screw things up. So slow and easy pressure. Now we've got our first hole in. The bulkhead connector, you can choose which way you put it, at least for the brand that I use. It is 3/4 inch hose barb or pipe thread on the outside, 1/2 inch on the inside. The hose barbs I use are 1/2 inch. I think it looks neater with it installed this way and that the bulk of the fitting goes to the inside. I don't know why. Make sure you have your bulkhead fitting, your rubber washer, and then on the inside it goes rubber washer and lock nut. Screw all that together and tighten it pretty snug. Now, right now you could put a silicone sealer on there. Something like an aquarium sealer would be fine, or if you're more mechanical, even an RTV would be okay, but it doesn't really take much to hold this back. A good hand snugging does fine. Make sure the washers stay in place, and we're already almost done with the reservoir. Next, we insert a hose barb. Now, this is plastic to plastic. If I put Teflon in between plastic to plastic, it's not necessary. It can help prevent leaks, but I generally don't have an issue with these as long as I get them nice and snug. This is our reservoir. That's my washing machine. So the reservoir bucket, in here we'll put all of our salt-based fertilizers, our nutrients. Brands doesn't really matter as long as they're clean. I try for name brand. My favorite's Athena. Doesn't really matter. But no organic matter ever goes in the reservoir. The reservoir is only for water and salt-based nutrients. Now, let's build the regulator bucket to go with the reservoir. We start this one very similar to the other. The first hole will also be 1.5 inches off the bottom. The next hole will be 7 inches off of the bottom, and this is the one that the float valve will go into. It needs to be higher so that we can keep our elevation difference. Elevation difference is what makes a gravity system work. If everything's at the same level, nothing will flow. So it's required that the reservoir bucket be above the regulator bucket, and to maintain the same water level between the regulator bucket and the planter, they need to be on the same level. That way, if we see 4 inches of water in our regulator bucket, we know our planter has 4 inches of water also. So now that we've got our hole at 7 inches, come on, let go, there we go. Now, we're going to put one of the bulkhead fittings into both of these. Those that are clever and those that are smart and know plumbing will realize that when I go to install the float valve, it has a built-in bulkhead fitting, and I could change hole saw bits so that I could do the smaller one and put this directly into the bucket, and that's your option if you have the tools to do it. I'm showing it with one hole saw and an extra 99-cent fitting so that it can save people money that have to go and source these tools. That way they only have to worry about getting one size of hole saw. Only a 99-cent difference of buying one extra bulkhead, where an extra hole saw might be more. This installs the same as the other. I like the smooth side out, rubber gasket. Inside is a rubber gasket and then lock nut. And tighten it down nice and snug. This one cannot leak because it's above the water level. So you don't ever have to worry about that one. The other one here goes in the bottom. Same assembly, flat out, lock washer through, or not lock washer, sealing gasket, and the lock nut on the inside. Put it right in through the bottom there and tighten it down from the inside. We're only a few steps from being done. Now, take your 1/2-inch hose barbs, one in the bottom. This is our outlet. And the higher is our inlet. Remember, we have to have a difference in height to maintain flow. This is our float valve. So we're going to have water coming in here into this float valve. When it's in a down position where there's no water, it opens the valve. When the water fills up, this lifts up and shuts it off. So we'll want to make sure that we take off the factory bulkhead because we're not going to be using that. And we're going to install this. Now, if you look at it, I just showed the functioning. I actually was holding it upside down. This is the proper direction. Water comes in, hits this hood, and flows down. And when this fills up, it's off. When it's down, it's on. And I'm going to screw that inside here into the bulkhead fitting. I want to make sure it's nice and snug. When you're finished, it'll look like this. So again, as this bucket fills with water, this float valve will lift up and shut the water off. That's how we can adjust the liquid level from the bottom of this bucket to be the equal height in our planter, and we can control the depth of water that we have in our planter. So here's our reservoir. Here's our assembled regulator bucket, bulkhead fittings, everything assembled. Next, we need a hose to go between the two. I am paranoid. I've already told my story of how I messed up one time. Hose got kinked, so now I use this coiled hose. I've only found it in clear. It's probably available in black. Somebody recommended I cover it in black tape, and that's probably what I'm going to do for this run. But for right now, for the tutorial, I'm just showing the hose. One end, and you should use a hose clamp, goes on to the reservoir bucket. The reservoir bucket will be at a higher elevation. The other end will go into the float valve so that water will flow from the reservoir to the float valve. The float valve will maintain the height, and the outlet will go to your planter.